Common Girl.
We're Common Girl band.
Common Girl. I'm Latcu. I play guitar and I do vocals.
I'm Damien. I do guitar and some vocals.
I'm Dustin. I do bass and some vocals.
I'm Andrew. I play drums.
You have released 2 EPs and some singles over the course of the past 3 years. What would you say are some of the biggest changes and evolutions to your sound and style over that period of time?
We had a lineup change, and that really was like the fucking kicker that like threw us into high gear. Because we were just kind of like trying to make a little bit of everything before, and we didn't really have like a direct sound. And then Andrew and Latcu came in, and then having like a second guitarist, and Latcu's so creative at writing, and then that also like bounced Damien to get more creative with writing and stuff. And I think that really just like pushed us to get our shit together as far as like having a sound that sounds like us.
It was in 2022, Latcu and Andrew joined the band. I guess what has been the experience for you guys?
When I first joined, I was really into like black gaze and screamo and stuff, so I really wanted to push the band into a louder direction. Ironically, that's kind of my opposite impulse now. But for a while, it was like I was kind of imposing my own influence onto the band of like, I want to write loud, scary shit. But I don't know, it's been a learning curve. I haven't been a part of a group like this before prior to joining Common Girl, so that was really, really nice to sort of have a group that's welcoming and, you know, fucking just a good hang. It's just a good fucking group of people to spend time with.
When I joined, I didn't know exactly what music we were gonna play. Before I joined, I saw Common Girl I think like 4 times, and then only actually ever listened 1 time. So then the one time was too like the last time I saw them before I joined. Yeah, and then like when they invited me to join, I was like, oh, okay, I can do that. And then I totally forgot what we sounded like or what they sounded like. And then when I joined, I was like only playing drums for like about a year or so. But yeah, it was really cool joining, and then like becoming a better drummer too is still like a goal of mine, which I wasn't that good when I joined, and now I'm like pretty decent. So
I think that goes for all of us too. I think we've all pushed each other to improve as musicians a lot.
Yeah, I would say the level, like our standards, you know, have increased, and we just kind of, we don't really have to have conversations about holding each other accountable because it's kind of implicit at this point. It's like we know what a song that we've played a million times should sound like, so we don't have to like be like, hey, that was wrong. Like we kind of just all know that implicitly, and I think that's just from like spending like an ungodly amount of hours together over like the last year and a half.
The lore on Andrew and Latcu joining too, both Damien and I were kind of burnt on the stage of Common Girl and where it was at, so we both were trying to start side projects. And Damien started a side project with like your friend Grace, and then you met Latcu through Craigslist.
We were trying to make slowcore.
Yeah,
that band never happened.
And then I was trying to make screamo, and I started a band with Justine, who plays guitar in Simple Shapes, and Chainsaw Girl, R.I.P. And Andrew I knew from Plant House, which is an old house venue that he used to live at, and I posted on my story one time asking for drummers, and he was the only one who wasn't like 14 years old and being like, I'd love to play music with you. So that was really cool, and we started jamming that way, and then it kind of merged together.
I do want to add that I remember Latcu telling me that Latcu caught us once when we played the band Drunk's release show, and it wasn't a good performance by us. I'll say that.
One of our worst.
Yeah.
I did not like Common Girl.
Yeah.
So that, in the back of my mind, I was like, I could join Common Girl, but would I enjoy that? And, you know, funny enough, I enjoy it quite a bit, so. Yeah.
I think with those 2 additions, we don't sound like shit anymore as much as we used to.
How would you compare playing house shows and shows at venues?
I'd say the house shows are generally way more like stress-free. I feel like it feels much more like.
I'm the opposite on that.
Yeah. Well, as a house venue liver and proprietor, I'm sure you feel different. But
yeah, that's true.
At least in my experience, as just like someone who has played quite a decent amount, I feel like it feels much more like recreational at that point. You know, it's very much more like feels more hobby. You know what I mean? But like I would say with venue, it kind of like at least for me, implicitly feels like, fuck, like this is a venue show. Like,
Yeah, it definitely
you know.
feels like there's more to lose at a venue show. But also, there's like a charm to a house show that like can't be replicated at a venue show.
There's a disconnection you get when you're on a stage and there's people below you versus when they're right up in front of you.
Yeah, I
in
kind
your
of hate
face.
being on stage.
And that there's pros and cons to that, and that like you're directly interfacing with your fans, and that's, you know, as great as it can be to play music and interact with those people. But on the other hand, you know, they can see every little nuance of what you're doing. Will they know? Who cares? But there's that added pressure of like, these people are right there. They're right in front of you. When the lights are bright on stage and the audience is dark and you can't tell what the hell is even happening over there, then there's less pressure. But you're missing that sort of vital connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say too, like, I think I gain a lot more excitement and stuff from like a venue show because like there's like a requirement to be there at a certain time, and like getting to like hang out here right now when there's like no one here. It's kind of like cool to like just pace around this like giant room and like have it be empty, and then knowing in like a couple hours there's going to be like 300 people here is cool to me. It makes you kind of like have a perspective on like just like how, I don't know, like how awesome music is.
Rock and roll.
It's so great, rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get more stressed out at house shows for sure. It's definitely because I used to run. I mean, I only ran like maybe 4 or 5 shows, but they were all like pretty big.
They were pretty fucking big.
Especially the first one. I know how it feels to to be like offering your house up to a bunch of strangers who will who will climb on your roof and break your gutters.
And then yell at you when you try and tell them to get down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like.
That was tight.
Yeah, it was really cool. But I feel like the stage. I don't like being on stage either, but it's definitely easier to forget about the crowd on stage, unless it's at Crystal Ballroom in 2023. But yeah.
Yeah.
That's my take on that.
Leyu and Dustin, you were both in the project. I heard you laugh from outside and thought it was a slow-winded dog. What led to the formation of that project, and how does it contrast to what you do in Common Girl?
We were jamming with our friend Evan, who's
Yeah.
a fucking phenomenal drummer.
And yeah, in like 7 bands.
Yeah,
Which
and me, right.
big shout out to all of the bands that he's in.
Right.
Very talented guy. Yeah, and we just like wanted to make screamo-ish music.
Yeah, we had that common interest, and that was already sort of present in Common Girl, but I think we wanted to sort of lean away from like genre fusion and just have a side project that's
Yeah.
dedicated to one sound.
Yeah, and it was like kind of like just a bouncing idea for a while, and I don't know if you're gonna follow us up with talking about Spiderling, but these two started doing stuff in Spiderling, and then I think at that point, we were just like, all right, fuck it, like if we're all doing side project things, then we might as well just kind of actually like give it more attention. It bounced around a lot for a while. It was
Yeah,
like
we had a lot of lineup changes and things happen.
auditions
Yeah.
and all that type of stuff. Yeah, we're like, for a second, it was just you playing guitar, I was playing bass, and then Evan was doing drums. Then added Robin from Simpleton and various other bands, and then Myra from Kill Michael to play guitar as well. Leyu started feeling like she didn't have like a place of playing guitar with it being 3. Picked up the bass. I decided to just do vocals, and then
Yeah.
the rest is screamo history, baby. It's definitely taken away like the need to like push for screamo adjacent shit in our sound, and I think since then we can hone in on like doing more of this kind of like post-hardcore shoegazy thing that we do now, which like I'm very fond of. In hindsight, at the moment when I was just like gung-ho on like wanting to make screamo music and wanting to scream just in general, I was like, every time Damien would come in with a riff, I'd be like, what if I yelled on it? And it would like be some shit that did not need that to happen. And now I am a lot more like comfortable and keen with like taking a backseat and just kind of like doing my role as like a bassist and stuff, and not trying to push that type of stuff onto it.
And I guess for you guys in Spiderling, kind of a similar question, how what you do in that band kind of contrasts, and also do you take any of what you do there into Common Girl?
Definitely. I think in terms of our side projects relation to the main project, it's kind of this like, you know, all these aspects that we tried to cram into one vehicle now has its freedom to go wherever. So case in point, the harder stuff, screamery material, lends itself more to Heard Your Laugh, whereas the softer, more like cutesy stuff can also lend itself to Spiraling. And I think having those like outlets like definitely makes us feel less inclined to have to make like how he said, like
jam
fusion.
every
Like every song needs,
yeah.
every song realistically can't be every genre at once. And I think having this be like our new norm like gives us more of a refined sound, and also just like kind of maintains focus, you know what I mean? And like at least for me as writing, because I write for Common Grow and I write for Spiderlane and other projects as well. And before I kind of had this issue of just like trying to stifle everything into one vehicle, and then eventually came, now that we have this kind of situation, it's a lot easier to write for all projects as opposed to before where it just felt like annoyed whenever an idea wouldn't materialize to a song and it would just be shelved. I think having all these different outlets for us is like supremely beneficial, and like I feel it's been a great move, honestly.
Being in Spiderling is sweet. I wanted it to be like a solo project, but that was kind of impossible by like just the way I operate. I feel very reliant on Damien.
Well, and Damien's also a phenomenal drummer too, so like
Yeah,
it helps out.
Damien taught me all the drum parts to Common Grow when I first joined, obviously because I didn't know any of them. And they also have their own solo project that they drum on too, right? You drum on everything. You do everything on that, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just really good drummer, really good. Taught me a lot.
Leu, you also have a solo project, Leu's Holy Mountain. I was just curious if you had anything to say about that in relation to Common Grow.
Yeah, Leu's Holy Mountain. Tonight there will be clouds. Do I have anything to say about it? I've been making music by myself since I was like 14 or 15. I was not very good at it. I put out a project in 2019 that was sort of a compilation of voice memos I made. The way I used to record, I didn't have an interface or anything. I would just take my iPhone, I would open voice memos, and I would throw it at the wall, and wherever it would land in the room would be the recording position for the day. So I have a lot of recordings that came out weirdly good and a lot that are just dog shit. But yeah, there's Mother Earth, which is the first thing I put out. There's a couple other weirdo little side things.
Hyperpop?
I made hyperpop very briefly for a minute. I had a lot of friends who were doing that, online friends, so I kind of hopped on the bandwagon. My most recent things would be Snowblind and Pitch Lake, which I put out as like a double single.
On Spotify now.
On Spotify,
Oh,
yeah.
sweet. I
Great
didn't know
fucking
that.
music.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
that
it's
song.
phenomenal.
It's got
so
30
good.
monthly listeners, baby.
Yeah.
All
But
30 of us
yeah,
stand
I'm
strong.
pretty happy with those. I don't really have any plans to perform those live or anything. Actually, I originally was gonna have Pitch Lake be a Common Girl song when I first was playing with them, but I just figured I would keep it to myself. That is kind of the depository for anything I write that doesn't immediately go into any of the other projects I'm in. I have a sort of, I guess, a sound to the stuff that I write, and if anything sounds a little too Leu, it kind of just falls into that basket. Yeah.
On the Bandcamp for Leu's Holy Mountain, the description is building a ladder to heaven, only using effect pedals and blood. And I
Yeah.
wanted to use this to transition into, what are some of your favorite pedals to use?
Oh, Jesus
Let's
Christ.
go.
Never
I'm gonna fucking be here for like 2 hours.
Don't
You
be-
can just
don't
name
be
like
mean.
one or two.
Don't be
No,
mean.
it's not mean.
Uh,
Why don't we all just pick one?
I was gonna say just one.
It was a question for me.
There.
Okay.
I mean, anyone can
Yeah.
answer.
No, they can't.
Yeah, no answer.
My favorite fuzz
JHS
pedal.
double barrel.
Fuck you. You don't even own that thing.
I wish I did, buddy.
My favorite fuzz pedal of all
$300.
time is the Black Russian Big Muff. Specifically the big box model. I don't know if there's any difference in the flat box or the tall box. Who gives a shit? It sounds good. I like that. Mine's broken. I use another thing now and it sounds worse, but it's fine. I've tried to become less gear centric in the past 6 months or so. I've kind of realized that you can get a long way with minimal equipment. What really matters is, you know, having a reliable instrument and reliable amplifier and, you know, writing good songs, writing good material that stands on its own without, you know, clouding it with additional stuff.
I'm gonna give Leu this credit because she won't give it to herself. She's kind of the founder of the use of the Hizu in the Portland
Yeah, I
music
forgot
scene.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
honestly.
Every other guitarist in Portland can thank, Spencer, Ezra, Coda.
No, Spencer was using
Damien.
it
Yeah, I was
No.
gonna say when it got to my
Ezra's
turn.
here, by the
I
way,
want
one
and
now,
they're
too.
trying to steal my
Yeah, they
place
sound
in
great.
history. They're flipping me off.
I mean, to be fair,
I got the Hizu because I was a fan of Boris, and I was like, oh, finally I can sound huge and awesome. And it turns out using a clone of one of the earliest versions of the Big Muff is not great if you want to be heard on stage. It's just, sorry, Damien. It's just all fizz and fucking piss and low end, and you can't tell what's happening. It's cool, it sounds huge, but that's all.
it's funny to.
And now everyone uses it, so I'm the
Yeah.
loudest guitarist in Portland.
Because that is my
Your
candidate.
master idea.
Yeah. That would be my
It's
choice for
completely
pedal.
accidental.
But it works though because I can sound like low end shit and she doesn't.
Yeah, we have
It's all
some
about
nice, we have
balance
some
around
heavy
here.
and clarity.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite compliments we got was from the screamo band Confluence, where they called us a tone band. They said
I did
that.
not know
Is that
that.
is that a diss?
No, that wasn't a diss. That was a compliment, and
It's a
I
compliment?
took it. I took it.
It's a compliment.
I took it as a compliment.
I think that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I think that's
That was unintentional though. Yeah.
True.
I don't have any pedals anymore. But my favorite pedal that I had was
It's awesome, actually.
the Plumes Earthquaker device. Plumes on bass. It sounds super nutty. Andy from Reverb. He plays only in dreams, and he kicks on the plumes, and it sounds really good. It's on YouTube.
Weezer.
Yeah, good bass line. What's your favorite pedal? The fucking kick pedal? Drummer?
Yeah,
Yeah,
kick
dude.
pedal. That doesn't count though. So,
You like
I
big
don't
muffs
really
too.
have-
You like Russian big muffs.
I don't really have a favorite pedal right now,
help
to
you
be
out,
honest.
man.
We're all wearing the same
I
thing.
really want to. I really want a good pedal, but I just ask Leyu what I should get, and then
I really want to get a pedal.
and then they tell me, hey, what do you want? Well, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't know.
It surprised me.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. Maybe I'll get a Hizu or something too.
Yeah.
I'll also get on the Hizu.
Squad.
So you're playing new music tonight. What has the process been like of writing this new material, and how does it compare with your writing process in the past?
I would say it kind of relates to the previous question of like having different bands to write for. Because before, it was like trying to staff everything, but since then it's been a lot easier. So since we took a break, because we haven't played a show since September, so it's been like 5 months, and so we took some time off. I took time to work on other things and kind of get my shit together for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can attest to that. And I'd say since then, like, I've just been able a lot easier to sort my riffs, I guess so to say. And for that, it's like, okay, this is a Common Girl song. I know the confines of like what a Common Girl song should probably sound like, and like having that in my mind and kind of like knowing like what works already like is a good reference point, because then it's like I'm not gonna try to make like something completely out of left field anymore.
Right.
Before that would happen a lot, but now it's like, okay, realistically this isn't gonna work for this band.
Yeah, I think we're starting to get a better idea of what sound we have as a band and what that is and how to keep reliably getting it. The writing process is still primarily either Damien or I will come in with some material that we've come up with, but I think it's becoming more and more democratic where we're not demanding certain things for certain parts or whatever. It's just like, here's the guitar part, play to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's becoming better. Also, both Andrew and Dustin have been writing stuff too recently.
Mhm.
Not so much. We have a couple like jams that we're not playing tonight, but we have a couple that we've been working on that are like originally like either Andrew riffs or Dustin riffs or whatever. Yeah, we're trying to sort of democratize the process so it isn't just like the two fucking musical geniuses imposing our will upon.
Yeah, you let the dum-dums get a little shot too.
No,
That's fine.
it's like I don't want imposing our fucking will upon the fucking rhythm section, relentlessly.
It's okay. Me and Andrew have fun. It doesn't matter. We're just here
Yeah.
for like
Vibes.
money and shit. We're just here to get famous and have money.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the reason
But
why.
no, writing
And
has been
parlays.
super
Yeah,
smooth.
parlays.
16 like parlays.
Writing
Yeah,
has been really
we're trying to
smooth,
find our
really
gambling.
really simple. Just come in with shit, you work on it, and then it's kind of just coming together really easily.
Yeah, I feel like a good example of that too is our song "Silent," which we're closing with tonight.
You're not
And,
allowed to say that.
Spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
No, it was an encore.
Our song "Silent" is our closer tonight. And it's not brand new, but when we wrote that one, it was very much like hodgepodge, throw a bunch of riffs together, and we were talking about it the entire time, talking about structure, and we kind of all worked on it together. Probably the most like collaborative song we've made to date, I would say. And I think that like wouldn't have happened like 2 years ago, like for the comparison's sake. Like I don't. It would probably just be like Damien coming in, being like, "This is the song," and then like I would play it.
Before, I was extremely guilty of doing that. At first, out of necessity, but then eventually became like, I realized that isn't an efficient way to operate in a band at all. And it's, I mean, I haven't been on the receiving end, and maybe only a few times. So I wasn't used, to the criticism and feedback I was getting. I was like, what do you mean? I thought this works.
Yeah,
But-
it made me really sad back then. You watch old like Common Girl performances, and I'm just standing there like frowning the entire time, not moving at all while playing bass. But now,
Now we're pretty.
Now
Now
you're
we're rocking and
smiling. Now
rolling.
you're
I'm
smiling and
smiling the
jumping
whole
up
time.
and down the whole time.
yeah, so it's been a big change.
The Portland music scene currently has a lot of bands quickly rising in popularity. I wanted to know what you guys feel about being part of this scene and what you hope to see from it in the future.
I would really love more people to let us play their basements. Yeah, I think it's incredibly hard. I mean, I think it's a point we brought up amongst ourselves before, being that I don't think Common Girl, if it was to start today, would have feasibly been able to grow than how it did, a few years ago.
There's not enough all ages spots. There's not enough.
Yeah.
There's not enough house venues. There's just not there still are, and there are the few like champions of the DIY scene that prop things up, like Snake Farm or whoever else.
That's like the only one I can think of actually.
But yeah,
There's a lot of like one-off
shout outs to
yeah,
them.
Saturn House and shit too.
Yeah.
Shout outs to
Saturn
them.
houses.
But yeah, there's just sort of a lack of there isn't a lack of community. There's definitely a community. People talk to each other. There's definitely interaction between other people in the scene. It's just a lack of space. There's a lack of spaces for music to happen live.
Yeah.
And that's sort of unfortunate. But despite that, I think there's a lot of newer bands that I guess the generation before us that are propping up, and I'm really impressed by a lot of them.
Yeah.
We're playing with Jousting tonight.
Yeah, jousting.
Jousting.
And
Absolutely
Jousting is fucking phenomenal. They're easily one of my favorite bands in Portland right now.
Yeah, Jousting's the shit.
They are
Jousting is one of
they
the ones
are
to look out
beating
for.
us at our own game, like just doing low and
When
slow,
did they start?
fucking
I don't know.
incredible
A couple
stuff.
weeks ago?
But yeah, there's a lot of great bands still propping up, still happening. There's bands that we were playing with, a year ago that are still around, that are still kicking ass.
Yeah.
I think things are strong. There's just maybe a lack of space. There's a lack of community when it comes to like getting together and securing places for this to happen.
Yeah. I mean,
Besides that, it's great.
I-
It's pretty solid.
I wish that I don't know what happened with the house show community here.
It's just cops.
Like,
Yeah.
Cops and landlords, baby. That's simple.
Yeah, but also at the same time, I mean, like, the like big venue scene is starting to recognize like the legitimacy of like
Yeah.
our scene and
Like
stuff.
we can play Crystal. We can play Mission.
Yeah, we had the first ever all local show at Crystal Ballroom, and like
Not first ever.
Yeah, I was say
No,
that's
Well,
what
first in maybe recent memory or something.
Yeah.
with all
but
locals,
It,
like
I
a
don't know.
strictly local bill.
I'm not gonna argue this, but
It's been a venue
Yeah.
for a long time.
The first ever show at Crystal Ballroom ever was us.
Well, we didn't solely accomplish a lot. I think the scene accomplished a lot in getting ourselves included, 4 great bands into Crystal and packed the fucking room, which I think was an achievement for, not just for us, not just for the bands, but just for all of the people that prop us up, all of the people that support us.
My point with what I was saying
Yeah.
with that is that the actual venues are recognizing that it's like a legitimate scene here. There's so much like talent and a lot of really insane fucking bands coming out of here.
Yeah.
And the more and more that these bands start to play actual venues, I'm really hoping that it trickles down and we get more smaller all-age spots like we get like a honey latte type spot back. We get Blackwater's type spots back and stuff.
Blackwater's still around.
More of them.
Type spots, Ezra. Thank you for being a part of the interview. We get like shit where like, I'm sorry, we get.
Clear.
We need more. There
more
are
fucking
things,
spots,
but we
yeah.
do
And
need
the
more.
more
We
that
need
these like
more.
venues and these like businesses and these people who have the money to like start those spots like recognize that like they can host that and it can be profitable. Not that that matters, but it does matter for a business's sake. Then I think that we'll get more spots like that. And every single time you have like a band like Roto that's gonna sell out the Hawthorne Theater, or you have a band like fucking like
Growing Pain selling out Mission.
Growing Pain selling out Mission, it makes like the businesses and shit realize like, oh, we need to like more. It's supply and demand.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks to distill it into like, you know, these kind of terms.
Mhm.
Like, but that is what they ultimately look for. They look for like, is there viability? Is there money we
Yeah,
can make
is it
off this
profitable?
table?
I just hope that what we're doing, what a lot of other bands are doing, is legitimizing the scene and the group that we're a part of, and that it sort of elevates others with us. You
Yeah.
know, we're not just fucking getting the A&Rs to sign us to a label or whatever. We're bringing people with us. It's not
Because we
just-
don't want to play at bars.
Okay. Yeah. I just hope this goes somewhere
Just
not
saying.
only for ourselves but for other people.
Yeah.
Hold up, I got a question for y'all.
Yeah.
Where did you get the name from? Because I have a friend, and she's into Common Girl, and she thinks it's a spin on Basic Bitch.
No.
I figured
absolutely
not. I figured not.
No. For sure not. Which like that's like a fear of ours. We don't want people to think that it's like
No.
there's no like.
I mean,
I'm not gonna say the word misogyny, but like it's
no,
not like.
no, absolutely. It's
There's
not
yeah,
from a-
there are some people that assume it comes from a bad place and it doesn't.
Yeah.
I've had the argument run by me a lot of times. Why is Common Girl called that if there's no women in the band? And it's unfortunate because I'm a trans woman, but I don't present like I am, so to speak. And I often have to tell people there is a woman in the band, and regardless of if there is, it's not misogynistic. It's you
Yeah.
know,
Just the name.
yeah, it's I don't yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
It's
don't
just, like,
really
some shit
know
with
what
names
to
on.
say other than it isn't, and that was never the intention, and that's
Yeah.
not the place that it came from.
I get where like that idea. Can
Yeah, no,
land
it's
and
I
shit.
totally understand.
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
it's just
Like, I mean,
incorrect.
for a lot of things, you know, like you can apply any kinds of like
Yeah.
meaning to it, right? Independent of, you know, whatever we thought, right? Because it was just an idea that, I mean, I don't even remember our other band names because they were all really bad.
Yeah.
That was the one that just seemed like, you know, like, all right, this seems kind of palatable. You know, it's very intentionally vague.
Yeah.
But with being vague, it's like, well, then what is the real message? And people can, like, definitely theorize, like, stuff like that, right? And, like, immediately delve into the world of, like, misogyny and other kinds of things.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but, I mean, you know, I think a lot of other band names also suffer from that kind of problem as well. It's not one that's exclusive to us.
Yeah, and it just takes explaining it once, and then people are just like, cool.
Yeah.
It's not.
And it is not
Yeah,
named
something
after a
like
beach. What was it? Fucking
Beach House.
Beach House
It's
song.
not a
It's
beach
not a
house.
beach house
There's a
song.
beach house song called Common Girl?
There it
Yeah.
is. We've been asked that.
We should just say
So
that's
many
what
fucking-
it is.
Yeah,
That's
we
actually
love
what made
Beach House.
the band hard to Google.
Yeah.
So you guys have a T-shirt design with the gesture on it. I was just curious who made the design and what was the inspiration behind it.
Dust.
My buddy Silas did that one. Incredible fucking illustrator. His Instagram is tom.com. His name is not Tom. It's just Silas. And yeah, his art's really fucking cool. I had wanted to work with him for so long, and I have we are from the same area, but I just knew him through Instagram and stuff, and have talked to him like so many times about being like, oh, like let me put some of your art on this and this, and it was never like an actual like legitimate thing I had going on. And then once we had this all set up, I was like, this is a perfect opportunity, and that's still to this day my favorite merch design that we've had.
And then the last question on that page with that shirt, there's a picture with a cat next to the shirt. I was just curious whose cat it was.
That's Tron.
Oh,
That's my
oh,
baby
it's
boy
Tron.
Tron.
Wait,
yeah.
which one?
My nephew.
He has this bad habit of if I lay out anything on the ground, he'll walk up to it and like belly flop on it, so that you like have to look at him and have to touch him. And I was trying to take product photos of the shirt like the first time we got it, and so I lay it out, and then he like walked up and he did this thing, and
That's cool.
yeah, it's tight. Yeah, and so that's on our Bandcamp forever. which we don't have those shirts anymore, so it probably
No.
shouldn't be on our Bandcamp, but
I honestly didn't know it was still up there. I'm gonna go delete that.
good to know, yeah.
There's at least one person I forgot to ship their shirt out, probably still. So I'm sorry if
shit.
you're watching this.
Maybe we'll restock one day.
Jesters?
Yeah, I hope so. That'd be cool.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, that's Tron. That's my baby boy.
Wait, what does Mr. B say at the end of the video?
I don't watch Mr. Beast.
You look like you do.
I don't watch Mr.
That's
Beast.
crazy.
Hey guys,
Can
go
we-
ahead and drop a like, drop a comment, hit the sub button.
Can we shout some people out real quick?
Yeah, do whatever you want to end it off.
Rhododendron.
Rhododendron, Twister, Kill
Shout
Michael.
out Twister, shout out Kill Michael.
Shout out Sauna.
Growing Pains.
Shout out Ogre, shout out Sauna.
Yeah.
Ogre.
Shout out Nine of Swords. Shout out Drunk.
Shout out my mom.
Yeah, shout out Lee's mom too. Shout out Tron.
Shout out my uncle.
We
Shout
have to-
out
Me
Ron.
now
We're
and
gonna
Ron.
If we're gonna shout out everyone, you have to think of everyone right now, or else someone's gonna get pissed.
Yeah, we're gonna get a strongly worded email.
Yep.
Let's just
Shout out
stop
the
now.
McMillan's family.
Yeah.
Let's just stop now.
Thank you, Phil. Big shout out to Phil.
Thank you, Phil.